What if the people you believe hurt you the most were never the real source of your pain? What if the true wound has been living quietly inside you all along, waiting to be seen? Imagine for a moment that most of the pain you experience in life does not actually come from other people or from the situations you go through. Imagine that the real source of that pain lives much deeper, somewhere inside you where it has been quietly waiting for years. This idea may feel strange at first because we are used to believing that our suffering is caused by the outside world. When someone betrays us, we say the betrayal is what broke us. When someone rejects us, we believe the rejection is the reason we feel worthless. When someone we care about becomes distant or silent, we assume that their silence is what wounded us. But the perspective that Carl Jung offered is very different from this common belief. He suggested that the event itself is rarely the true source of the pain we feel. Instead, the event simply touches something that was already there. It presses on an old emotional bruise that has never fully healed. The situation outside becomes the trigger, but the real wound is internal. Think of it like this. If someone presses on your arm and there is no injury, you barely notice the pressure. But if there is already a bruise under the skin, even a small touch can cause sharp pain. The touch did not create the bruise. It only revealed that the bruise was already there. Our emotional life often works in exactly the same way. This is why two people can experience the same situation and react in completely different ways. One person might go through a breakup and feel sadness, but still remain emotionally stable and grounded. They grieve, they process the experience, and eventually they move forward. Another person might experience the same kind of breakup and feel completely shattered. Their sense of identity collapses. They question their worth, their future, and even their ability to be loved again. The difference between these two reactions is not the event itself. The difference is the inner landscape of each person. One person may carry an old wound related to abandonment, rejection, or not feeling good enough. When the breakup happens, it doesn't only represent the end of a relationship. It awakens that deeper wound that has been living quietly inside them for years. Carl Jung believed that many of the struggles we face in life are connected to parts of ourselves that remain unconscious. These are memories, fears, beliefs, and emotional experiences that we have pushed out of our awareness because they were too painful or confusing to face at the time. But pushing them away does not make them disappear. They simply move into the background of the mind, where they continue to influence how we think, feel, and react. When these hidden parts of ourselves are not acknowledged, they quietly shape our lives. They influence the kinds of relationships we form, the fears we carry, and the ways we respond to conflict or rejection. Without realizing it, we begin to interpret new situations through the lens of old pain. For example, if someone grew up feeling that their value depended on pleasing others, they may become extremely sensitive to criticism later in life. Even a small comment can feel like a personal attack, not because the comment itself is devastating, but because it touches a deeper fear that says, if I am not perfect, I will not be accepted. In the same way, someone who once felt abandoned may experience intense anxiety whenever a partner becomes distant or unavailable. The present moment triggers an emotional memory from the past, and the reaction becomes much stronger than the situation alone would normally justify. This is why Carl Jung emphasized the importance of becoming aware of what lives inside us. He believed that until we bring these hidden parts into consciousness, they continue to control our reactions from behind the scenes. In one of his most well-known ideas, he suggested that when we fail to make the unconscious conscious, it directs our life and we end up calling it fate. In other words, we start to believe that the world keeps hurting us in the same ways over and over again. We may feel as though we are unlucky in relationships, or that people always misunderstand us, or that rejection somehow follows us wherever we go. But in many cases, what is really happening is that the same inner wound keeps being activated in different situations. When we do not understand this process, we often try to protect ourselves in ways that do not truly help. We attempt to control how other people see us. We try to avoid mistakes at all costs. We become extremely careful with our words, our actions, and even our emotions. We believe that if we perform well enough and behave perfectly enough, the world will treat us gently. This strategy may seem logical at first, but it slowly becomes exhausting. Trying to control the outside world requires constant effort because other people are unpredictable. No matter how careful we are, someone may still misunderstand us. Someone may still criticize us. Someone may still walk away. When that happens, the sense of safety we built around control collapses, and the pain feels even stronger than before. We feel confused and betrayed by life itself because we believe that doing everything right would protect us. Carl Jung believed that true strength does not come from controlling the world around us. It comes from understanding the world within us. When we begin to explore our inner landscape honestly, something important changes. Instead of seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances, we start to see the deeper patterns that shape our experiences. This awareness does not mean that painful events suddenly stop happening. People may still disappoint us. Relationships may still end. Life will still include moments of loss, uncertainty, and misunderstanding, but the difference is that these experiences no longer strike the same fragile place inside us. As we become more aware of our own emotional wounds, we gain the ability to respond instead of simply reacting. We notice the moment when an old feeling begins to rise. Instead of immediately assuming that the outside situation is the entire cause, we pause and ask a different question. We ask ourselves what exactly inside us is being touched right now. That simple shift in perspective opens the door to something powerful. It transforms pain from something that only harms us into something that can teach us about ourselves. Every strong emotional reaction becomes an invitation to look deeper and understand what part of our inner world is asking for attention. This process is not always comfortable. In fact, it often requires a great deal of courage. Looking honestly at our own fears, insecurities, and unresolved experiences can feel intimidating at first. Many people prefer to keep running from those feelings because facing them seems too overwhelming. However, the paradox is that avoiding these inner wounds actually gives them more power. The more we try to ignore them, the more easily they are triggered by everyday events. They continue to shape our reactions without our awareness, creating the same emotional patterns again and again. When we begin to face them with honesty and compassion, their power slowly decreases. The wounds that once reacted instantly to criticism, rejection, or silence gradually lose their intensity. We start to see those situations more clearly and respond with greater balance. This does not mean becoming cold or emotionally distant. It means becoming grounded. It means understanding that our value is not defined by every opinion or action that comes from the outside world. Carl Jung described this journey as part of a larger psychological process known as individuation. Individuation is the gradual movement toward becoming a whole and integrated person. Instead of identifying only with the parts of ourselves that seem acceptable or strong, we also acknowledge the parts that feel vulnerable, uncertain, or imperfect. By bringing these hidden aspects into awareness, we stop fighting ourselves internally. The energy that was once spent suppressing emotions or maintaining a perfect image becomes available for growth, creativity, and genuine connection. As this integration continues, something remarkable begins to happen. Situations that once felt overwhelming no longer have the same effect. A criticism may still be heard, but it does not destroy your sense of worth. A rejection may still hurt, but it does not convince you that you are unlovable. Silence from someone else may feel uncomfortable, but it does not automatically trigger panic or despair. The world outside remains the same, but your relationship with it changes completely. Instead of constantly defending yourself from potential harm, you move through life with a deeper sense of stability. Your center of strength shifts from external validation to internal awareness. And once that shift happens, the same events that once wounded you deeply begin to lose their power. This is the quiet transformation Carl Jung believed every person is capable of. It is not about becoming perfect or immune to pain. It is about becoming conscious enough that pain no longer controls who you are. The journey begins with a simple but powerful realization. The world may touch your wounds, but it does not create them. And when you finally choose to understand those wounds instead of running from them, you begin to reclaim the power that has always been yours.